Judge Woody Gossom, y'all ruled what?
Under section of the penal code, it allows judicial officers to declare what is within what they believe the offices that serve their court.
Okay.
And so we had a meeting of the administrative board of judges. We went over, we took consultation with the sheriff and with the district attorney, Maureen Shelton, who did a great job of preparing a lot of documentation for us to look at and determine which offices and which buildings serve the courts and where we felt like that protection needed to be extended.
You took in the hallway, the whole courthouse and annex encompassed.
Yes, sir. And the reason for that, you've got people moving back and forth. You've got prisoners moving in those areas. I had a guy ask me yesterday, why the annex? I said, you have felons coming in there that are coming into the probation office. You have teenagers coming into teen court there. You have the public defender's office there, the regional public defender's office there. There are offices of the court that are there. And so that same safety factor and feeling, because emotions often run high. Sheriff and I were just chatting a little earlier this morning. I think under a new, a man asked me yesterday, well, why can't I just go in there and get my car tags? And I said, because those are common hallways. The people pass through there. I said, you really have people passing by you that might think, hey, I don't need a gun. I can take yours and do whatever they want to do. But interesting thing now, as of January 1st, the tax assessor office, Tommy Smythe, explained to the court, he's responsible to look up a deal to see if you owe back child support. So now they are enforcing child support orders of the courts. It's going to be some interesting case law to be determined before it's all over with.
The sheriff of Wichita County is here, and pull that microphone around just a little bit, please. Sheriff David Duke, you had input on this decision that we just heard about.
That is correct, and I believe with what the judges have decided is actually accurate. And if somebody does try to challenge it, I do believe the Attorney General has nothing to do but side with the judges. It all falls under the Texas Penal Code 46.03, where it specifically talks about government entity, and they can deem what part of the premises is theirs. Had a local, I've seen where a local gun teacher that does concealed handgun licenses was complaining about it and said that the county courthouse belongs to the taxpayers and they should be able to carry guns through there. Well, all the school system belongs to the taxpayers. You're not going to carry them in there either, because that's the number one on under 46.01 bans you from doing that. So it's like the judge said, we transport inmates throughout the entire court system, the courthouse as well as the annex. We the back and forth for hearings to trials, and our actually transport deputies that handle that up close and personal with the inmates has removed them. They do not carry their firearms with them. They have intermediate weapons such as tasers, but they do not carry their firearm with them.
Judge, what about, or Sheriff, what about bailiffs in your courtroom, in the room, actually? Are they armed or not?
The deputies that do work in there, it depends on where they're stationed at in the courtroom. Ones that are basically inside the barrier, inside the door where it separates the jury and the attorneys and the visitors, they're unarmed.
Unarmed.
We've had high-risk capital murder trials where a defendant was actually representing himself, and he has free movement of that whole area. And we had 4 deputies up there without arms, and then there was 2 other deputies, and I was one of them, designated in the back part of the courthouse as a designated shooters. So if he were to do something in any way to try to attack somebody, our job was to shoot him. Now, you talk about a conviction in front of a jury and a judge, I think that would go over pretty good.
That would be a conviction.
However, he was smart enough not to do that because he knew what was coming. Ultimately, he got the death penalty, and he's no longer with us.
Well, now, are you telling us then, has the Attorney General's office given you the green light to do this, or is this decision just based on what you're reading into Ken Paxton's decision?
No, so under Texas Penal Code 46.03, Texas law is already there that allows the judges to deem these hallways, buildings, or whatever part of the courthouse prohibited areas to have a prohibited weapon.
So is the AG's decision in conflict with that law?
I don't believe so at all. Neither does our district attorney.
I'm thinking that one of the places where you need to be armed would be any judge's office, because you've got some people that just get out of completely go berserk when a ruling comes from a judge that maybe he's going to take a child away from you, or maybe going to send you to the penitentiary.
Right, and that's part of the problem is, in Texas there are some courthouses that are built a whole lot newer and a whole lot better than our buildings. because they have just courts in certain areas where they can keep all the firearms out of it, and they have other public offices that you could probably walk through there. That's up to that county to decide that.
Yeah.
Except in our building, to have somebody stand outside of a courtroom looking inside, and he's glaring at the suspect or the one on trial for murdering his daughter. We all know what's going to happen if he's got to stand in the hall with a gun. He's not going to stop him through there. It's kind of like a barbed wire fence. It keeps the honest people out. The door keeps the honest people out, and if you want in, you're going to get in there. So it's just common sense not to do this.
That's true. Very, very true.
And don't get me wrong, I am a staunch Second Amendment right person. I own several firearms. I would probably be classified as a gun dealer, and I don't wheel and deal guns. But the federal government has their say and take on it. And like you said, the president, he might as well just blew his nose because it doesn't make a difference.
No.
And I don't care what the federal government may say or come out of Washington, D.C. under an executive order, which is obviously against the Constitution. And this is a trend of sheriffs across America are stating that these federal laws that they may hand down, us as sheriffs, we represent the state of Texas in our state laws. We don't enforce federal laws. If we could enforce federal laws, then we would have probably almost all the illegals that are in our county rounded up and sent back where they belong. They won't let us do that. So they pick and choose what laws they want everybody to use, but we don't have authority to go out and arrest somebody on a federal violation of a statute of the Federal Penal Code.